Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you. Depends on the location, the time that you're watching this video. My name is Behshad Sabah, and this is the second part of my job hunt workshop. This video is recorded in January 2022. So a brief review of what we did on the first session. We talked about the background of this workshop, where it comes from. We talk about 10 hobbies that I wanted you to write down with a short story about those hobbies. I gave you 2 examples on that. We talked about Canada economy, looking at the GDP of Canada and other industrialized countries. We look at the local newspaper based on the city that you are. And we look at the facts and figures report, which was made by the Canada Mining Association. We also talked about Toronto Public Library and business directories like Scott's Business Directory and Mergent Intellect. What we did, I'm going to go through it very quickly. Through the Toronto Public Library, we came to the Scott's Business Directory with the company name. I searched the database. If you remember, we talked about Shell Canada Limited, for example. And then when we look at the profile of Shell Canada Limited, it gives us, let's go back. It gave us the North American Industry Coding System, which was 324110, like a petroleum refineries, because in my example, I was the process engineer working in a refinery back home, and I wanted to get the same job in Canada. So I wrote down this number, North American Industry Coding System 324110, came back to the new search. And then on the search criteria left-hand side, click on an NAICS by itself, and it gives us a drop-down menu here. So go 32400. And then the first one is the petroleum refineries, select, and then search. And when we got it, we copy paste the information into an Excel file. So these are the companies that I got from the Scott's Business Directory. I asked you to look at their website and classify them based on the level of interest. So number 1 are the companies that you love. Number 2 are the companies that you like. And number 3 are the companies that you don't have any preference about them. Just either get them or lose them. It's not a big issue for you. So look at their website. If there is a job post, apply. If not, rank them. And then we talk about that later. And then we talked about Mergent Intellect, which is almost the same database compared to the Scott's Business Directory. We talked about LinkedIn Learning. We talked about body language, why body language is important for 2 reasons. One side, you can control your body and your gesture in the interview day, either face-to-face or over the Zoom or other online platforms. And on the other hand, you can read other bodies' body gesture and understand what they think before they open their mouth. So that's very important. The course is available through the LinkedIn Learning. If not, try the YouTube and learn it from the YouTube. So now, before I continue about what's the next step, let me show you another website. We briefly talk about North American Industry Coding System. There is a website actually that you can search different criterias, different segments, sectors in the industry or the companies. So you can use this one too. The other thing that you can do also about North American Industry Coding System, instead of going the company name, you go to North American Industry Coding System by itself, and you open this drop-down menu. For example, you want to get the companies in mining industry or utilities or food manufacturing or textile or, or chemical manufacturing, paper manufacturing, anything that you want. Like you can pick paper manufacturing, and then it shows you a lot of subsections. So you can pick whatever that you want and then select and search. So even if you don't know the name of company, you can always filter this database with the North American industry coding system. And you can always put the province like Ontario here and see how many companies you will have. My recommendation is in your Excel file, I recommend that you at least have 100 companies here to start. So try to combine more and more areas that you can work and then bring at least 100 companies here to start, okay? So now, let's come back to the job hunt workshop section 2. For today, we want to talk about how you should find people in those companies. The first thing that I want you to think about is if you want to pick the phone and call somebody on those companies, what would be the best person to talk to? So for sure, we don't want, and I repeat, we don't want to talk with HR people, HR manager, human resources stuff, talent acquisition stuff, because the moment that you call them, they would say, okay, so have you looked at our website? And either you have looked at their website or not. They always refer you to their website and to the career section in the website. They don't know if there is a position popping up because HR managers and HR associates, they work based on the request of the hiring manager, which could be an account manager or technical manager or lab manager or so on and so forth. So an HR team member or HR manager doesn't hire people based on their request. So they always wait for the hiring manager for the budget to be approved. So they don't know anything about the future. So we really don't want to talk to the HR guys. So there are two type of employees that we want to talk to. Number one, the person who might be and could be your manager in that company. For example, if I'm a process engineer and I want to work in a refinery, maybe my manager would be engineering manager of that refinery. Maybe my manager would be plant manager in that refinery. So the first title that I consider to call is the person who might be my manager if I'm hired by that company. So that's number one is call your future managers. Number two, find people who might be your coworkers. So if I am a process engineer, my coworkers would be or could be a chemical engineer, a mechanical engineer, another process engineer, and so on. So two type of people we will target. Number one, our future managers. Number two, our future coworker. So how we are going to find them? To find them, I recommend that we start using LinkedIn, and I'll show you how it works. This is my LinkedIn page. If I want to work for Shell Canada, what I'm going to do, I'm going to type the name of the company here, like Shell or whatever that I'm looking for. This is the right company, so I click on the name. And what I see here is about 170,000 employees of this company are in the LinkedIn. So for your information, about 700 million specialists are registered at LinkedIn. So there is a big chance that you will find the right person here based on the company that you pick. So now I see that 170,000 employees, I cannot communicate with all of them. So what I do, I need to set some filters. So I go to the all filters here, and I start scrolling down and pick the locations that I want and items that I want. Okay, so I want to work in Ontario. So I add the location, Ontario, Canada. I want to talk to people which are working with Shell currently. I don't care about their past companies. I don't care about their school. Well, the industry should be oil and gas. The profile should be in English. And then let's go there. And the title should be manager. Let's talk let's find my managers first. So I put the manager here. And then what I see 175 managers in Ontario working for Shell in oil and gas industry. So let me go through their names and titles and see which one is useful for me. But before I do that, I will go back to my Excel file and I create a tab and I rename it under the name of Shell. Okay, so if I have, let's say, 52 companies here or more, let me see here. If I have 60 companies here, I need to create 60 tabs here and rename every single one with the name of company. Like we call it BASF, we call it, for example, Fuchs, and so on and so forth. So every single name here will have a page or a spreadsheet here. So let's go back to Shell. I go back to my LinkedIn. So ONA, it's a territory manager, doesn't help me. National account manager, I don't like it. QA and lab manager. If I wanted to work at Shell laboratory, why not? You know, Sun Lee would be probably my manager there. Brad Law, engineering service manager. Seems that Brad is a good candidate for me. So I select his name and location and title and just copy it to my Excel file. Okay, so I can come back and clean it up, but just to show you how it cleans up, Brad Law, and then, you know, I can clean it up later. I scroll down, Shell account manager, field service manager, account manager. So I go page after page and try to get 4 or 5 managers there, like Sebastian Roberts, you know, that's a production manager. Production manager might be the manager for the process engineer. So I put the production manager Sebastian information here. So remove that, come back. So, and I go forward. With the same concept, I go to different pages, technology manager, general manager at Shell. So this is the way that I get the contacts that I want. Okay, so after doing that, there might be some people that I like, but their name is hidden, like this person. Or this person, they introduce themselves as a LinkedIn member, not with a full name. So if you face this challenge, we have 2 ways to get through that. Number 1, we can buy LinkedIn Premium. We will get access to the name and last name of these employee of Shell or any other companies that you have in your mind. But the other way to do that, which is cheaper, is using the Google service. So let me go through this one. Let's say I am in the LinkedIn and I look at the Trust Technology Solution company, and LinkedIn tells me that there are 97 employees of this company listed in LinkedIn. And the first person, which is the person of interest, military analyst at Trust Technology Solution, his or her name is hidden. So what I do, I go to the Google, and in the search bar, I put www.linkedin.com full column, space, quotation, and I copy paste the position person and unquote. Then I hit the search or enter, and what happens, LinkedIn gives me the name of the person. So when you put a website address here with the full column at the end, you are telling Google to go there, try to bypass all the username, passwords, privacy stuff, and find this string of letters for me. So that's what Google does for you. So Google goes to the LinkedIn, bypass all the privacy stuff, and gets the name of the person. So that's the person that I need. So I copy paste the name into my Excel file. So this is the way that you get locked names. So we talk about LinkedIn and locked names and how to unlock. The other way that I can do it is, for example, if I'm looking for engineers, so I come here, instead of manager, I put engineer, sorry. Instead of manager, I put engineer here, or process engineer, or mechanic name, you know, the same list with different names. And I pick the right person and copy it into the Excel file here. The other way that we can get some names is to the PEO website, Professional Engineers of Ontario. If we are in Ontario, there might be different engineering directories in the province or the area that you work. So try to find it. But in Ontario, we have PEO. And then we go to the directory. And in the directory, we have individual directory. And we click on advanced search. And the employer would be Shell. And the city would be Toronto, and then we search. So it tells me there are 8 engineers in Toronto working for Shell. And, you know, I can click on Jerome name, for example, and then I will see what's a chemical engineer, very good candidate for me to call and talk. That's the phone number of Jerome. And I can copy paste the name and the phone number to my Excel file so I can call Jerome later. So that's the way that it works. If Jerome was not the right person, we go return to results, then pick another person. Like we call or click on Derek's name. And what happened, Derek is civil engineer. So as for process engineer, Derek is not a good contact. So we just go back to the results. So you can try different people here and suitable for you to call or not. So Eric is another candidate. He's a mechanical engineer, very good to call. So I get the name and the phone number and the address, and I call that person later on after I educate myself on cold calls. So is it legal to make a call? Yes, one call is legal during the working hours. You cannot call after 9 p.m. You cannot call at 6 a.m. During the working hours, make the call and be polite. And in the third video, we will talk about what's the content of the cold call. So, but know that you can call only once during the working hours. If the person says that he or she is not interested, or he or she doesn't have time to talk, or any negative response, we just thank that person for his or her time, hang up, cross the name, and then never call that number or that person, okay? So just a reminder that the email pattern of companies are the same. For example, some companies, they have first name dot last name at abc.com, or initial of first name, last name at abc.com, or what, so, you know, something like that. If we have a list of some names, let's say I have 15 or 20 people here, and for any reason you get the email address of Brad Law, like brad.law@shell.ca, something like that, you can create the Sebastian Robert email address, or anybody else that's you have the name in the company, if you need to send an email. All this information should be copied and pasted into the Excel file, because we want to keep a clean record of what we have and how we handle things. And then you will add some feedback column here, like when you start calling them, date January 9th, 2022, and then you start making your notes here. You call Brad, Brad was not there. Then you leave a note, and then you can call the next day and the next day. So you start filling this Excel file based on the activities that you have on that specific customer or account. Okay, so so when we want to start the cold call, we will start from the companies that we mark with number 3. So these companies are the companies that we have the least interest on them. So any mistake, any wrong answer, anything that you couldn't remember or whatsoever, we will do all the practices on these companies. And then after we learned from our experience here, we start calling on company number 2, which would be companies that we like. And then after that, we go and start calling on company number 1. So so we do all the practices on companies number 3. We continue practicing and pushing more on companies number 2. And then when it comes to company number 1, then we fight for that position. And we go after that. So I would say that that was a short video to wrap up a reminder and wrap up a lot of things on the first part of the actions. So by the end of this video, you should have at least 100 companies in your Excel file, rank them, and the right people based on the occupation that you are looking for. If you want to be a lab technician, go for the lab managers and other lab technicians. If you're an accountant, go for accounting manager. If you are a sales rep, go for the sales managers as your future managers, and so on and so forth. So by the end of the second video, you should have all that Excel file ready to go. And then in third video, which is the one after this, talking about the cold call. Thank you for watching these 2 videos, and we will continue with the third one. Thank you very much.